Sal Jade, and I'm so excited to be bringing you this free tarot seminar today, in which we are going to be exploring some very exciting topics, including how to give more accurate remote readings. So, how to make sure that if you are doing readings remotely, whether by phone or email or by Zoom, that you are able to be even as accurate as they are in person. I'm also going to be looking at how you can do readings when it comes to putting the cards and spreads in order. So I got asked this question recently. Do I always have to, like if you're doing a spread like the horseshoe, does it always have to be in the order that you teach? Because sometimes people teach it a bit differently. So I'm going to talk a little bit about how to do that more intuitively and my favorite little tips for how to do spreads and whether or not you do need to do it in order. I'm also going to be talking to you about how you can make sure when you are either getting clients asking you this question, or if you've ever had this question yourself, which is how can tarot cards that are randomly chosen give me information about personality traits or destiny or what's going to happen in your life? So I'm going to answer that because sometimes your clients might be a bit skeptical. And also even for yourself, if you're like, well, how does it really work? Like what's the science, I suppose, behind it? And this is going to be especially useful for those of you who haven't done any of my higher level courses. So you're only in Tarot Card Success, because I do tend to talk about them more in the higher level courses, like the Love Readings course and the Career and Life Purpose course and the Health Readings course. So if you haven't done that, this is going to be even particularly more useful for you. And I'm also going to be talking about my Advanced Tarot and Psychic Business program. There are 2 spots left in it for this year, so I'm going to talk a little bit about that. And I have one more thing I'm going to talk about, and I've totally forgotten what it is. Give me 2 seconds. Oh, yes. Do I need, so if you're changing topics on that topic of doing like a love reading or a career reading, do I need to change cards for that? So these are the topics we're exploring today. I'd love to see who's with me. If you are with me, can you please just pop your name in the chat box and say hi and where you're from, just so I know that I am definitely broadcasting. If you are watching this on YouTube, that means that you are watching the replay. Do hit subscribe so that you make sure you always get these each month. It's much easier than having to kind of hunt for them and wonder when I'm doing them. I usually do them in the last week of each month, but sometimes that may vary if I'm traveling. And I also would just want to start before I begin by giving a massive shout out to every one of my students who has enrolled in my newest course, which is Master Multiple Choice Tarot Readings with Confidence, because I have today just gone 5-star, pure 5-star on Udemy with that course. So thank you so much for everyone who has signed up to it. Thank you so much for everyone who has taken the time to review it. It is incredibly difficult to get a pure, what I call pure 5-star, like total 100% 5-star on Udemy. Most courses will be like between 4.1 and if they're good and 4.8, but mine has just gone 5-star today. So thank you to everyone who has signed up to my newest course about how to give multiple choice tarot readings with confidence. And if you are someone who struggles with those multiple choice readings and want to make sure you're getting more accurate multiple choice readings, then do go and have a look at that course, because it is doing really well on Udemy right now. And again, thank you so much for everyone who has taken the time to review it and taken the time to sign up for it. So, hello Andrew from Texas. Everything looks and sounds good. Thank you. Thank you, Marcy. Now, for those of you, as I mentioned before, who have been with me before, if something I say and you go, oh, I want to ask a question, please pop the questions in. I usually will tend to answer them at the end so that I can get through all the content and make sure that I don't forget something, which has happened before. I have forgotten things before and had to go back and do another one. So please do pop your questions in, and if I'm not answering them straight away, it just means that I'm going to be getting towards them at the end. So first, let's start with this question I got asked recently about the order that you read cards, like whether it's the Celtic Cross, whether it's the horseshoe, or any spread. Now, keep in mind that there are a couple of different versions of how you read the Celtic Cross. And what I mean by how you read it, I mean whether you start reading with hopes and fears, or we start reading with you, or you start reading the unconscious or the recent past. And so there's 2 main ways, and you'll find that in Tarot Card Success, I teach what I call the basic generic way. Then when you go on to do some of my higher level courses where I have the Celtic Cross, you will see me do it in other ways. And the reason is, and it's the same with the horseshoe, there's a very basic way that I teach you in Tarot Card Success. When you go and do the love readings course or the career readings course, or you'll see the health course, you'll see that I do it a bit differently. Sometimes that is because intuitively, cards will just pop out at me that I think answer the question straight away. Like I look at it and I straight away go, this is the most important card in the whole deck. So I'm going to talk about it first. And that's for a number of reasons. One, because it's often popping out at me and kind of yelling at me like a 2-year-old who wants dinner. And I'll be like, oh, I have to, I can feel this card. But also because you obviously want to build up your client's faith in you and their confidence in you. So straight off the bat, if you're getting a card that's really addressing that issue, it's not a bit confusing, it's not a bit vague, it's straight on topic, then you're obviously going to have a big win with your client. So that's why often I will be like in the higher level courses, I'll be like, oh no, that answers it straight away. Or, or I'll be like, okay, this is how you're feeling. And I will often do things like in the horseshoe, I might read the U card with the hopes and fears. And the reason is to say the U card is how you are feeling about this topic. So say it's something about getting married or something. How are you feeling about getting married? And then your hopes and fears. So maybe you fear that if you get married, you are never going to have enough money or something like that. So it might be a poverty card, or you're going to never have enough money to get married or something like that. So if they're working together really strongly, then I will often read them according to that. So again, and I always say this with reading tarot, there is no right or wrong. Like some of the most gifted tarot readers I have ever taught that have gone on to have hugely successful careers, I have seen they just develop their own style as they go. So they take my blueprint of what I teach and they go, and as they get more confident and they keep practicing and they get more and more clients, they find that different systems work for them and they might intuitively read things a bit differently. So if you're ever concerned, say you see someone on YouTube that teaches a bit differently to me, or you're like, but Sal, I need the exact, by numbers way to do it, then try both ways. Like try my way, try someone else's way, try and see and open yourself up before you do a reading to going, okay, I want to see if any cards pop at me, if any cards really, really are screaming at me. And as I said, sometimes it might even be the final card screaming at you. So getting used to doing that will give you much more intuitive readings. So I hope that has helped anyone who's a little bit like, oh, I don't feel like I want to do it in that order. I want to do it in a different order. Thank you. Someone did make a comment there. And hi, April. And I want to also say, and I will reinforce that for this next question too. So now I'm going to talk about whether or not you should change cards for a different topic. Now, for me, and again, you'll see me do this in the Love Readings courses and the other courses, I will tend to, if it's a completely different topic, to say I'm starting to do a love reading and then someone wants to talk about career, I will tend to put all the cards back in and shuffle and start again. And the reason being is because sometimes we have universal themes in our lives that will cross across two different topics. And it's almost like the universe is hammering us and saying, you need to learn this, or this is important now. And it doesn't matter what the topic in your life is, that those cards are going to keep coming up. So that's why I like to put everything back together in the pack and to shuffle and to do it again. However, sometimes, and you'll see me do this, where I will actually draw another deck into the reading. So what I mean by that, like maybe an oracle card deck, or sometimes like you see in my advanced tarot program, I will actually bring in another deck altogether that's a different tarot deck. And so that's if I want to change the topic. So you can do that. And again, like no right or wrong, trust your intuition. But over the years, I'll be just doing a reading and I'll suddenly feel like someone's asking a different question and I'll be like, I really feel like you need this deck. And I'll just run and go and get that deck. And that's how I roll. It speaks to me that this is the exact deck they need. Now, if you are new and you are a beginner, please don't feel intimidated by this if this isn't happening to you yet. You've got to remember this is from years and years of practice and many, many hundreds of clients that starts to really resonate. In the beginning, I just stuck to one deck. But you might start to feel intuitively you want to bring some more into the party to give a bit different energy. Different decks have different energy. And again, with oracle cards, you might feel like this is more like an oracle card question. So I might just go grab a really cute little things on gods and goddesses or something and chuck that in. So yeah, feel free to play. For me, tarot is all about play. Try not to take it too seriously, or you'll find yourself getting blocked, or you'll find yourself getting a bit afraid to do readings. Just play with it. And if you feel like you want to change decks, then change decks. Or if you feel like you want to start again. That's not a problem. But yes, different energy for different questions. I would at least reshuffle the deck and get them to ask that again. So I hope that has helped anyone who's wondering all about that. Now, I'm going to talk about remote readings. And I get asked this a lot because obviously people these days, most readings are taking place remotely. People who are wanting to start online businesses, people who are doing practicing in our Facebook group, the Tarot Mastery Facebook group, we're doing it remotely, either by email, either by phone, or either by Zoom. And people often get worried. They're like, well, is it going to be as good in person? Now, look, I'm not going to lie to you. There is definitely something about when you are with someone and you are talking to them where you are getting more feedback, like non-verbal feedback, than if you are doing a phone reading or if you're doing an email reading. That's obviously a given. If someone frowns at me when I say something, I'm like, is that not resonating with you? Let's sit with it for a while and we'll come back to it. Or if a big smile lit up and I know I've got a bing, 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 that might build me to keep going more and more on that question. So there's definitely a different vibe and an interaction when you can physically see someone either on Zoom or you can see them, face to face. However, I still maintain that energy is energy and you will pick up what you need to pick up to help that person. Now, you will be choosing the cards on their behalf. That is what you'll be doing for them. You'll be asking their permission. If they said, I want you to read for me, then that's permission. You don't have to say, can I have permission to pick the cards? And for me, I will just always make sure I close my eyes, even if it's on a Zoom session, and I will just take a moment to just tune in and I will just say, what does Jane, what does Jane need to know about this? Please help me pick the best cards for her highest good to answer this question accurately, or something along those lines. So I just put a little bit of extra effort into tuning into her energy. If you don't know what any of that means, I do talk about that in How to Be Psychic, like tuning in a bit to higher guides. But even tuning into the card's energy and to her physical energy and just taking a moment to just, I might say her name in my head. If I know what she looks like, I might try to bring that visual to my head. Or if I'll just think about her name and her email and I'll just be like, okay, and then I'll sit with that for a bit and then draw the cards. So don't just, whip the cards out and start yanking them out. Take a moment to tune into them so that you've got that extra bit of energy connection when you're pulling on their behalf. And that for me helps with a lot more accuracy. Now, if you are looking to do lots of Zoom readings and you're looking to do like phone readings and email readings, in my Advanced Tarot and Psychic Business program on the Psychic Healing Academy, I do go into this. I have a huge section on how to do them and also all the templates I use, like what you can send to clients beforehand, follow-ups, how you conduct that in the online world. So you might find that useful. As I mentioned before, I've got two spots left for this year. A few people asked me to extend the payment plan. So the payment plan is currently $99 a month for 4 months. It's a special offer I was only doing for July. I have extended it to the 31st of July. So if you would like to grab that spot, please do go and visit the saljade.com/advanced tarot, or just email me at sal@saljade.com. And I can, if you want to know if this course is for you, and I'll pop it in the description as well. Now, I would also like to answer this question. And again, this helps being able to, if you've got cynical clients or you've got clients that are kind of a little bit like, how is this working? Or it helps yourself if you're not sure about tarot readings. And that is, how can cards that are just randomly picked tell me about someone's personality or their life or their destiny? Now, the first thing I will say is a lot of the time they can't. That's why I prefer spreads. Because you're not randomly picking them, you're putting them on a position and then interpreting them according to that position. But for me, tarot works very much on energy. So it works on picking up on your energy and your belief systems, depending on how you are feeling about a topic at the time. It will identify what your unconscious fears are, and it will help address those. Now, when we talk about how can it reveal your destiny, and those of you who've done my higher courses know I talk about this a lot, that is, your destiny is yours to shape, okay? It's not the card readers to shape, it's your destiny. However, your lessons belong to the cards. So everyone is going to have certain lessons in their life that they're incarnated to experience, and those lessons are your destiny. So that's how, basically, tuning into the energy and figuring out, okay, what lessons is this person needing to learn right now so they can get what they want. Now, they have full free will and choice to turn their back on those lessons. They don't have to choose them to do them, but that is when destiny comes into play. But you still have, if someone gives you a reading, you don't like anything they say, you still have full right to walk away and go, I didn't really agree with that and I'm not going to make those decisions. Like, it's completely up to you. Now, of course, there are certain people who are meant to come into your life. There are certain trends and patterns and blind spots that you're meant to look after. And that is how readings work. They work on looking at, okay, we're going to protect you from this bad thing that could potentially happen by warning you need to be careful of this. So say you get a tower card in the future card, it doesn't mean the world's going to end, but it means you really need to check your belief systems, because the tower is all about having very weak foundations and beliefs. And by checking them in advance, you might not have to go through that experience. So that's what I mean by destiny. Like, you might not have to go through something negative, like losing your job or losing your spouse or something, if you are in advance, so going in and addressing those issues. In terms of personality traits, well, again, the energy, and for me, like my guides, my angels, my gods and goddesses, the universal source, if you are an atheist and you're going, well, I don't really believe in any of that, just think of it as that energy, like the energy of the cards that you are magnetic to. And, you pick it up and it will go straight into, okay, this person that you may be going to meet's got this kind of personality, like maybe it's a King of Wands, for example. So I hope that's helped anyone who's had the cynical people go, how does that even work? I will say this though, and when I answered this student, I said this very clearly, because, okay, it doesn't happen very often, but very occasionally I'll get someone on the Udemy board who'll pop on who's bought the course, they bought Tarot Card Success, but they're just really cynical about the tarot. And I always say to them, hey, if you really don't believe in any of this, just get a refund. It's not my job to prove to them that tarot is a real, authentic, scientific principle, because it's actually not. Because we do have free will. And for me, I only want to read for people who are open-minded. If people get too skeptical and if people are too hostile to readings, I go, yeah, look, I'm probably not the right reader for you, or maybe tarot's not for you. Maybe try something different. No wrong with that, no judgment on that. I have no, in my personal life, when people ask me about tarot and they get a bit funny and cynical with me, I just shrug it off and go, yeah, no, that's fine. I totally understand if it's not your thing. I don't argue with them about it. I don't try to convince them. I don't need to do that. There are enough amazing people on the planet that love and are passionate about the tarot for me to be able to identify and connect with those people. I don't have to be convincing the naysayers. That's not my job at all. Now, I will say this though, because I've had a few, hello, Gil, how are you? From the Holy Land. Wow, lucky you. So I will say this, that if you find you are attracting a lot of clients that are very cynical and very skeptical, then I would think about doing some course about, either one of mine or someone else's, about removing kind of blocks like that. Because if it's happening to you a lot, then you might be holding the space of energy that you don't believe in it, and they're being magnetized to that energy. So I would think about that, like my Boost Your Psychic Gifts with EFT tapping course on Udemy, or remove blocks to your psychic power with past life regression. Something like that might help you a little bit if you are finding you're attracting a lot of very negative, cynical, hostile clients, because you might be putting out and projecting some energy that's attracting them in. So I would or again, you might have had a weird past life where no one believed you and you were either tortured or you were put in harm's way because people didn't believe you, and so that you're kind of reliving that and having to find your power and your courage and your strength as an intuitive and as a reader in this lifetime, and you've incarnated in this lifetime to experience that and to find some grace with that and to find some healing with that. So yes, please don't, if it's happening to you a lot, please do think about trying to get some healings on this, or maybe do one of my courses on Udemy on it. But don't worry if it's happening to you occasionally, because it is kind of normal. It's a normal bog standard part of being a professional tarot reader. So I hope that has helped everyone. I think I've answered all the questions, but I've got a feeling I haven't. Let's have a look. Yes, I have. Oh my goodness, I whizzed through it today. Okay, so now what I would like to talk about is, hello Alan, you bought my EFT course today, work on these blocks? No way! I haven't spoken about this topic for months, Alan. That's amazing. I love that synchronicity. I hope you'd love it. It is an awesome course. I did absolutely love doing it. Just to let you know, those of you who have signed up for the tarot seminar, the list where you get the replay, I'm not doing it on Zoom right now, but I will hopefully go back to doing it on Zoom next month, just to get that clear. I might actually answer a question that someone asked me in my Advanced Tarot and Psychic Business program. And I've got to go in and answer it today, but I thought I might answer it here as well before I do. And she said, how do I deal with imposter syndrome? So for those of you who don't know, imposter syndrome is where you feel like you are a fraud, or you just don't feel comfortable like advertising your services, and you don't feel comfortable saying you are a tarot reader or you are a psychic. Now, the first thing is obviously, if you're going to be a professional, to some degree and level, as much as people think, well, I'm going to be online and just hide in my basement and no one will know what I'm going to do, you cannot be an online reader unless on some level you are willing to put yourself out there to get reach. And those of you who have done my tarot business seminars, the ones that I do once a year, know that I talk about your job is to get reach. And if you don't want to focus on putting your name out there and building a reputation as a tarot reader online, then you're in the wrong industry, because working online means you really have to put yourself out there. However, I will say this, as I said to you before, like I'm very protective of what I do, and I've just created in my life, like people will say, well, what do you do for a living? And if I sense that they're a little bit, either ultra conservative or whatever, I'll just say, oh, I teach people esoteric courses, like that. And I'm just a little bit vague like that. And I used to say with readings, I help people with emotional healing. And, which is what I do. So I'm not lying, I'm not omitting. Now, obviously with people that I feel comfortable with, I'll tell them. But if you feel like you've got people around you and they're getting a bit nosy and they want to know what you do, or you're at a party and people are curious and you just don't want to get into it because you feel like maybe it's not the right setting, then yeah, just say I help people with emotional healing issues. I help people with trauma. I use certain healing tools to help with that. Now, some of you might say, well, Sal, does that mean you're ashamed of what you do? And it's like, no, not at all. It's just that sometimes you don't need to get into arguments or battles with people who don't really understand it. And sometimes it is, you can educate people and people be open-minded to it. But if you can see they're a bit shut down, or you know already that they're a bit funny, then, don't feel like you have to share everything. The other thing is, if the word psychic, if that intimidates you, then again, use intuitive healer or use spiritual healer. Use something that feels a bit softer, and that might work a bit better for you. And, sit with that and see how you feel. And as always, if you're never sure what to call yourself, pull a card. See what the cards say, like do a highest rated wins or the most positive for what to call yourself. Now, in terms of imposter syndrome, feeling like a fraud, the first thing I will say to you is that every single tarot reader on the planet at one stage or another has felt like a fraud and has felt like they have imposter syndrome. So please don't feel like this is going to be a massive blockage in your career if you want to be a professional tarot reader, because it's actually incredibly normal. It's just like getting stage fright for actors. It's something or writer's block for writers. It's just something that's part and parcel of your career. However, if you feel like you are staying stuck in that and you're not able to move it the more you practice and get good feedback, then definitely my Boost, as I just mentioned, that course, the Boost Your Psychic Gifts with EFT tapping, I talk in that course a lot about how to heal yourself of feeling judged for getting it wrong, or for feeling like that you're not going to be good enough, or feeling like people will judge you for being a psychic or a reader or a healer, or they'll attack you. And so that course could help just calm and reset your belief systems so that you're no longer in that anxiety and you just feel more comfortable selling your services. Something to also consider is there are plenty of ways online that you can run an online business without having to be your full exact name so that the whole world will recognize you. I always say to my advanced tarot and psychic business students, you do need to have a photo of you. I know people go, no, everyone will recognize me, but people buy from people. They don't buy from like a tarot card. Like there's so much mistrust online for buying services, especially like something like the tarot that's not tangible. It's not like buying a brush or a skirt or something. So you really do need a picture. But there is plenty of ways that you can tweak pictures so they're not identifiably recognizable as you. Like you can be kind of looking on the side, or you can do a bit of Canva and do a bit of filters. Like there's other ways around it. And obviously you don't have to use your full real name. You can use another name, a pseudonym, or you can use a business name. So please don't feel like, well, Sal's just told me that I'm going to have to put myself out there and I'm a bit afraid to do that. What if my family's really conservative? What if they recognize me? You can find a way around it. It's not a impossibility. You just have to get a little bit creative with how you do it. That's all. So I hope that has helped everyone who has always wondered about those questions. So looking at, do I have to do cards in order? How to do remote readings, so tuning into people's energy, looking at how to shuffle decks and change them up for the question, and also how cards pick up on our energy and how they pick up on our beliefs, and they give us like our blind spots and our trends and our destinies, but we have the free will to change that. So I hope that's helpful. Oh, and I just, for those of you who are signed up to the Udemy mailing list, I am running a special this month on the Love Readings course. The Love Readings Give Psychic Love Readings with Ease. That is probably one of my best-selling courses, simply for the reason that over 60% of questions you will get asked as a professional tarot reader will be about love. What is he thinking about me? What do I need to know about the future of this relationship? Should I stay? Or, is this person a genuine good prospect for me? Or when will I get married? And so I answer all of those questions with lots of samples in that course. I am running a special this month for $9.99 US. I can't even say that. So you're saving about $70. I will put that in the link as well. And yeah, just let me know if you're ever looking for what the best price is for any of my courses, just go to my website or go to, which is www.saljade.com, or you can actually just go to your Tarot Card Success your very, very final section, and in there it says bonus gifts, and you'll get all my courses that are currently being discounted. They might not always be $9.99 US, by the way. Udemy only ever lets me sell them for like 3 days, and I can only do that once a month. They might be a bit more, they might be like $12.99 or $13.99. So, but that is the cheapest way to ever get my courses if you're on a bit of a budget and you're thinking, oh, I don't want to pay that full price. Just go onto my website or go into your final section of your course and you can find it. So if anyone's got any questions, please do pop them in here. I am here to answer for you. And if you are, as I said, if you're watching the replay, make sure you subscribe so that you will always get these. And also, if you are watching the replay, I might take up to a week to see your questions because I don't go onto YouTube as often. And if not, I will bid you all a very fond farewell and thank you so much for joining me. And there was something I wanted to talk about. What was it? Oh, no, it's gone. It's all right. I'll pop it in as an announcement. Oh, I've been doing in our Tarot Mastery group, I hope you guys have been seeing it, I've been trying to do once a week or once a fortnight, just a group community post, like what's your favorite spread, what's your favorite ritual, those kind of things. It's a great way to get people who don't know much about the tarot and they're new to the group engaged and involved in it. So if you do see these posts pop up in the group, please do comment. Let us know what your favorite spread is. Let us know what your favorite ritual, what your favorite Udemy course is that I've taught, what your favorite crystal is. Anything like that is great. And just to help everyone build that community. Alan, would you recommend using your personal profile in public mode or having a business page? So hilariously, you have to have both. You can't actually start a business page without having a personal profile. Your personal profile will be connected to if that makes sense. So my Facebook business page is called Sal Jade Tarot. So if you ever want to go and have a look on more Facebook tips, just go to that. But I can't start a business page without having it connected to a person, if that makes sense. But yeah, but if you are trying to sell your products or if you are trying to promote your business, then don't do it through your personal profile. Facebook doesn't like it. They can often put you in Facebook jail. You can occasionally say something about a big win and but I would have your personal profile and then have a separate business page that's connected to that. So what I mean by that is they'll let you switch. You switch from one to the other. But yeah, you can really only sell things on your business page. You really can't do much. But if you go and look at mine, for example, my Facebook page, you'll just see my personal profile is me, Sal Jade, and it's got, this is what I am, Bestselling Udemy Instructor, and my website. And so there's a little bit of personal promotion of my business in there, but if you scroll through, you'll just see that I don't actually have, I just do funny memes and I do maybe, I'm starting to film my new course and I might talk a little bit about it, but I don't put links and sell stuff as much in it. I do that on my business page. But yeah, and then for my personal, I have a separate account. It's kind of a bit tricky to do, but I did it years ago. So I think that's how I managed to do it, which is like all my friends from high school. I guess I call it that. I'm hardly on Facebook when I'm not using it for business, but yeah, my kind of high school and my, what my mum's doing and that kind of stuff and who's having a baby. I have that on that one as well. Hello, Heather. So I hope that has helped, Alan. If anyone else has got any business questions or any questions related to learning the tarot, please do pop them here. I am here for you to answer those. Or as always, you can email me at sal@saljade.com, and I'm always really happy to answer your questions. Or if it's to do with your Udemy courses, pop them on the Q&A board and I will get there. And I'm currently about to start working on the Black Friday course that I'm doing, which I'm remaining a bit numb about right now. And so please look out for that for my next Udemy course that will be coming out in November. Okay, thank you so much, everyone. And it helped, Alan. Awesome. Pleasure. Have a wonderful day. And thank you so much for taking your time today to join me live.